Welcome beat 'em up lovers. Beat 'em up games are a distinct genre that have seen tremendous popularity on both home consoles and arcades. Console versions in the 8-bit and 16-bit eras were typically designed for 2 players only, multi-top accessories were uncommon, and not many games supported them. At that time, Arcade Machine is the only one that offers 3, 4, or 6-player games for some fun button mashing. At the last part, I will show how to enable 4-player modes. For some games, you need to get a separate version in order for 4-player mode. Here is the list of 4-player arcade games, and my top 5 based on my most played in the real arcade during the 90s. Criminals. Crime Fighters is a beat-em-up arcade game where your job is to rescue several women that have been kidnapped by a crime boss and clean up the streets by pummeling as many gang members as possible with your bare hands, as well as anything else you might possibly discover. You will travel through 8 levels throughout the city, in locations that range from subways to the docks. At the end of every stage is a fight with a boss character. Yo! After being treated like garbage by the Ninja Turtles, Shredder has trained a new, more merciless breed of foot soldiers to inflict his revenge, a clan of over 700 Taekwondo Turtle Terminators who have once again captured April O'Neil to use as turtle bait. Fortunately, you don't have to face these freaks of torture alone. For the first time ever, 2 dudes or dudettes can join forces and double-team Shredder, kicking Shell while covering each other's tails. But to survive you've gotta fight through 8 action-packed arcade levels, including Vinny's Valet Stocking Lot and the Soho Sewer System, plus 2 new never-before-seen shell-squashing stages. Krell, known in Japan as Runnerk, is a belt-scrolling beat-em-up originally released for the arcades by Taito in 1990. Set in the early 20th century, the player controls a forest ranger who must protect the local wildlife from a group of evil poachers who are driving the animals to extinction. The Ninja Kids is a side-scrolling arcade beat-em-up made in 1990 by Taito. It received no ports until its inclusion in the Taito Legends compilation re-release in 2005. The story is about an evil sect trying to summon the Satan on July 1999, as foretold by Nostradamus, and only a group of 4 ninja can stop them. Pretty standard fare for a video game, except for the fact that almost every character is a puppet. No, not people puppets, just regular puppets. Everything about this game is very tongue-in-cheek. Captain America and the Avengers is an arcade game released by Data East in 1991. It features the Marvel Comics characters the Avengers in a side-scrolling brawling and shooting adventure to defeat the evil Red Skull. DD Crew is similar to Capcom's Final Fight, which is an archetypal side-scrolling beat-em-up game. Up to 4 player characters move from left to right through each level, fighting with the enemy characters who appear, until they reach a confrontation with a stronger boss character at the end of the level. Once that boss is beaten, the players automatically move on to the next stage. Enemies appear from both sides of the screen and from out of doorways or Spider-Man, the video game is split into 2 playing styles. The start of each chapter has the game playing as a beat-em-up scrolling from left to right with only your fists and feet being used to stop the various goons who attempt to drain you energy and kill you. Halfway across the chapter after beating a supervillain or 2 the screen zooms out, turning the game into a platform game with the screen scrolling in 4 directions. You are now also able to use your weapons and other powers you possess. Each character also can use mutant power, but use it wisely as it drains part of your energy. Squashing stages. The Hero Gang, called the Cobras, numbers 5 members: Blood, former prizefighter, with a passing resemblance to Mike Tyson; Hawk, former professional wrestler, with strong resemblance to Hulk Hogan; Boomer, a martial artist, possibly based on Jean-Claude Van Damme; Sledge, a military ex-convict with passing resemblance to Mr. T; and Kate, the damsel in distress, described as Hawk's protege and wearing blue clothing similar to his. One day, a jewel heist gone wrong sees Mr. Burns' sidekick, Smithers, kidnapping Maggie and making his escape. Between 1 and 4 players take on the role of either Homer, Marge, Lisa, or Bart in this colorful, horizontally scrolling beat-em-up from Konami. Each Simpsons character possesses an attacking move specific to them. Marge is armed with a vacuum cleaner, Lisa has a skipping rope, Bart has his skateboard, and Homer fights with his fists. The players must battle their way through a variety of Simpsons-themed levels. Karate Blazers is a beat-em-up, martial arts fighting game with 4 main characters: Mercenary Mark, Wrestler Glenn, Mysterious Fighter, Gil, and Ninja Akira. The plot is a common one for video system. A girl has been kidnapped, and the player has to save her. Journey through multiple levels of enormous graphics, the largest and craziest talking turtles ever with eons of bodacious battlegrounds, from prehistoric to futuristic galaxies. Get ready for the 3D jab and toss that sends enemies flying right in your face. Mondo body slams and pizza power bonuses make you more turtle than ever before. You better believe you are going to need it. Shredder's out for Turtle Hide. And he's got all the time in the world to get it. In the 90s. A 4-player simultaneous beat-em-up game based on the Sega System 32 arcade hardware. 4-player selectable Arabian-themed, anime-drawn heroes, Sinbad, Raymea, Golder, and Dutta fight through a number of levels to save the kidnapped Princess Lurana from the demonic magician Sheikh Say's abyss. The most interesting feature of Arabian Fight is the use of scaling. The sprites are huge, and as the player moves into the screen, they decrease in size, increasing as you move out of the screen. 4 good guy psychos wade their way through hordes of bad guy psychos in this horizontal scrolling punch and kick 'em up. You get to ride some mean robot walkers and pick up some useful limited ammo weaponry on the way. Captain Commando is set in a crime-ridden future in the year 2026, where a superhero named Captain Commando, assisted by his 3 faithful commando companions, rise up to protect the Earth and all the galaxy from a gang of superpowered criminals. The game is set in the mythical world of the Arabian Nights. Some time ago, the Evil One plagued the peaceful kingdom of Shahryar. In order to save the king, who, by sorcery, had been transformed into a monkey, a group of heroes must find the Jewel of 7 Colors and release the evil hex. However, formidable monsters are lurking along their path. Prince Lacid, Princess Lisa, Sinbad, and Afshal, each. Hook is a side-scrolling, weapon-based beat-em-up, based on the movie with the same title. Up to 4 players control Peter Pan or one from the Lost Boys, Ace, Pockets, Thudbutt, or Rufio, fighting against Captain Hook and his pirates. Gameplay is similar to other games, like Golden Axe. The heroes go to the right, and kill enemies with their weapons and magic. In the 1990s, a dark force appears on our planet. It's the evil Dr. Bio, the twisted genius behind Bioroid. By using advanced biotechnology, he creates mutant life forms with superhuman strength, terrorizing the human population. To stop the evil doctor, 4 men, each with courage and fortitude, are chosen to wage a just war against these creatures. And now, that battle has begun. X-Men is an arcade game produced by Konami in 1992. Konami also made a 6-player version of the game utilizing 2 screens housed in a deluxe cabinet. It is a side-scrolling beat-em-up based on the Marvel Comics characters of the same name. The character designs of the X-Men and the supervillains in the game are based on the 1989 X-Men pilot episode X-Men, Pride of the X-Men. In the game, players control one of the 6 playable X-Men to defeat their enemy Magneto. Golden Axe, The Revenge of Death Adder is a side-scrolling arcade hack-and-slash game released in 1992 by Sega. It was the first 32-bit game in the series. It still remains an arcade exclusive as of 2010. The player characters are Go the Giant, Stern the Barbarian, Dora the Kentoride, and Little Trix, a young elf lad who carries a pitchfork. None of the characters from the first game are playable. The evil king has risen from the dead to rule the world once more. The Greek goddess Athena has summoned the souls of 4 ancient guardians and bestowed their power upon 4 heroes to stop the evil once again. These guardians wield the ability to shift into anthropomorphic beasts to fight their enemies. Some of the most prized treasures from the Baseball Hall of Fame have been stolen, and the Commissioner of Baseball needs you to get them back. But is there more to this quest than meets the eye? Who is really behind the theft? A beat-em-up role-playing game that allows up to 4 players to choose one of the following adventurers. Players are adventurers, a human fighter, a human cleric, a female elf warrior mage and a dwarven warrior. They travel from place to place performing heroic deeds and making the world safe from the forces of darkness, all the while fighting monsters, gathering treasure, and advancing in power. Throughout the game players must fight and solve puzzles. The group may choose to take different routes during the quest. Out of doorways or a beat-em-up role-playing game, sequel to Dungeons & Dragons, Tower of Doom, that allows up to 4 players to choose one of the following characters: an elf mage/warrior, human fighter, dwarf fighter, human cleric, human thief or a human mage. Shadow over Mystara has many game mechanics not commonly found in arcade games, such as finding and equipping new gear and earning new spells as the player gains experience throughout the Battle Circuit is the last of the Capcom 2D beat-em-up side-scroller games. This game is unique in that characters could collect coins and buy upgrades for existing moves after each level. The campy presentation and wacky character designs appear to be inspired by classic Silver Age comic books. If players achieve a high enough score at the end of the game, they are given a choice whether they wish to fight a secret boss character. In Cheek. 1,300 years ago during the Tang Dynasty, San Chang, a high priest, sets forth on a journey to India to learn the most profound Buddhist teachings, the De Chang Buddhist scripture. During this journey he is attacked by many demons but is protected by his disciples Long Ma, Bhe, Wu Kong, Long Nui, and Wu Qing. Spikeout Final Edition is the 1999 update for Spikeout, Digital Battle Online, and the second in the Spikeout series of arcade games. You can play up to 4 players using Link Up. The plot is loosely adapted from the Chinese historical novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms and features the 5 tiger generals, Zhuge Diao Chan, and others as playable characters. The gameplay involves the use of magical powers that are not featured in other games also based on the novel. This is the sequel to the original Knights of Valor that plays like a mix of Capcom's Dungeons & Dragons series and Warriors of Fate. Legend of Heroes is a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up taking place in ancient China at the time of the Northern and Southern dynasties. The country was invaded by the Huns and the warrior Princess Phelan managed to hold off their army and saved it from Hun occupation. However, a year later the Huns try again with a second invasion. The game offers 4 warriors to choose. They are Phelan, Liang, Zhili, and Cheng, each with their own moves. A side-scrolling beat-em-up that gives you control of one of the 5 tiger generals of Shu, though it is possible to earn other famous faces, such as the intelligent Zhuge Liang and the beautiful though historically non-existent Diao Chan. Following the historical fiction novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms by Luo Guanzhong. The Gladiator is a beat 'em up, developed and published by IGS, which was released in 2003. The story is about the cursed sacred sword that appears once again, taking the lives of hundreds of people. 2 prominent families were killed, just because they possessed it. Behind these entire massacres more mysteries are secretly hidden. The rumors say that perhaps even the government took part of it. Chu Xinghan, San Quanjing and Wu Ping decide to take matters in their hands. The conflict in Wulin seems to trigger at any moment. Unconsciously all sword masters are falling into a sophisticated conspiracy designed by Yun dynasty government. A horizontally scrolling beat 'em up that uses Romance of the Three Kingdoms story as a backdrop. Unlike previous entries in the series, this title utilized an electronic card-based system that saved a player's level and items each time they played the game. This game is an update of Knights of Valor 2 that includes new levels, shops, weapons, and enemies. This may be a duplicate entry with Knights of Valor 2 Bushauret's Yuden. Oriental Legend 2 was produced by IGS in 2008. A horizontally scrolling beat 'em up that used the Journey to the West story as a backdrop. The title is very complex as it involves utilizing equipment and multiple special moves to defeat your foes. Unlike other beat 'em up titles, this one allows players to block most enemy attacks. This title uses an optional electronic card system to save players' progress and items each time they play the game. Here are 4 methods on how to enable 4-player modes. Press Tab button, or if using controller, the menu button. Go to Dip Switches and move down to Cabinet Type. Press forward to select 4-player and coin slot type. Go down to Reset and enter.
Hey, come on! Hey, come on! Hey, come on! Drop dead, you scum!
You won't get away with this.
Press Tab button, or if using controller, the menu button. Go to Dip Switches and move down to Number of Players. Press left to select 4. Go down to Reset and enter.
Awaken, my brave warrior!
Press Tab button, or if using controller, the menu button. Go to Input, this machine, and check the Service Mode button. Here it is set as F2. Press F2. Go to Configuration. Change game style to 4P. Go to Exit to reset. Press Tab button, or if using controller, the menu button. Go to input this machine and check the service. Here it is set as minus or negative sign.
西游释恶传2
Go to dip switches and press forward to turn on service mode. Press Tab to exit menu. Press minus. Using your Player 1 controls, go to Operator Setting. Go down to Player, press button 1 to change it to 4 players. Press Exit. Press Tab, go to dip switches and turn off service mode. Press Tab again to exit menu. Press button 1 to exit and it will reset the game.